Hello, and welcome to the Revived Yarns podcast. I am back after a little time away because I was sick, and then we had construction work going on. They were putting down epoxy floors, so there was sanding and workers in and out. So it's good to be back. Spring break is next week, so I figured I'd better do it today where I wouldn't get the chance. So I am wearing the Whitehorse sweater by Caitlin Hunter of Boylan Knitworks. I knit it in a reclaimed 100% merino. The baubles have basically turned themselves inside out in almost all spots. And I'm not sure if I can fix that at this point. It was my first time doing baubles, so I may have done them incorrectly, didn't pull tight enough. I don't know, but I still like it. It's a really good length. I think this is one of the first sweaters where I kind of realized I don't need to make it super long, because several of my sweaters I'd made before this, I ended up shortening them later because they grew more than I expected, or I overestimated how long I would want them to be. So I'm very pleased with it, though I haven't worn it much because I finished it in November of 2019, and then of course 2020 happened. We didn't go anywhere anymore. So yes, I decided to pull it out today. Sorry, I'm still a little bit congested and coughing. All right, I have a few finished objects. My daughter was sick as well and was looking over my shoulder while I scrolled Instagram and happened to see a felted chipmunk, and she needed a felted chipmunk. So I looked and found a tutorial on YouTube for Sarafina Fiber Arts. She does amazing felted animals. So I made a little chipmunk. I used wire armature, so he is posable, but I didn't have the right kind of wire, so it was a little thick and hard to do, so I wasn't able to do his little hands. I just did little white balls at the end, and then I made his arms way too short for his legs, so he can't, he's not anatomically correct, but my daughter loves him, and I think I did a pretty good job on the face. I worked on it for a while. But one of the things that's so nice about needle felting is that if you mess it up, you just add more fiber and keep stabbing it. And eventually it will either look good, or you'll realize that maybe you don't know what you're doing and you need more help. So she was very excited about that. And another finished object, I cast on a hat in some handspun. I had done a corriedale with scraps, little roll eggs, and wanted to use it. So I cast this on. The bottom one is just a blue. They're the ribbing, it's just blue. And then the top has purple, blue, a little forest green, or some army green. I don't know what kind it is. It's a little bit slouchy, not very much. Ooh, that looks funny. It has not been blocked yet. But I like it. It doesn't look like any of the other hats I own. And it's handspun, which is really satisfying to create your own yarn and then use it in a project that actually turns out how you want it to. It's pretty amazing. Oh, sorry for clearing my throat so much. And then I've made a bunch more of the pin loom squares. This is some of the leftover handspun. A lot of it was kind of thick, and so it was very difficult to get these. So I only did 3. I have a little bit more left over. I thought the ball was over here, but it's gone. And then I pulled out some other handspun that were just tiny little skeins. They were more like I was experimenting with the spinning, and I just love those handspun ones, the loom squares, and it makes me want to do some handspun and weave something with it. So there's my stack of these. My stash of these is getting really big, and I probably should figure out what I'm going to do with them. And then, had I cast this on last time? I think I had. This is my dotted rays. So I started with this hand spun that someone had given to me, and then I moved into this green. It's held, let's see, a strand of merino. Are they both merino? Now I can't remember. Anyway, they're mostly merino, possibly a little bit of cashmere. And then I did this huge section with that, and I actually ran out almost perfectly. I was holding a lighter strand and a darker strand. There you go. And I ran out of the darker strand like right at the end of the last row. And so I did the I cord with the lighter. I just held a few more strands with it. And I really like how it looks. In fact, I've cast on another one, which I'll show you after I finish my finished objects. I also wanted to use up some stash of old cotton. So I've made some little baskets. This one's a little floppier. It was kind of hard on my hands doing all those tight stitches. And this one, and then I'm using one of them for a project right now. I did a rectangle one, which was very hard. I was having a hard time with that. So yeah, the rectangle one was hard. I think it's been so long since I crocheted like that I couldn't remember. And actually the increases, I couldn't remember the increases. I need to finish my sentences when I'm doing this. With the circular ones, I think I did some of them wrong because some of them started to get kind of wavy, and that kind of dictated when I started the sides because the bottoms were getting wavy and I didn't know what to do. And I think this, it's hard to tell now that the sides are on, so it doesn't really matter. These are great. I use them like yarn bowls, just throw them on the floor at my feet and stick a project in. So that's all my finished stuff, I think. I feel like it's been a while. So, oh, I forgot to put my little headphone back in. I hope that sound was okay. Probably wasn't. So, projects. So this one is in this little basket, and I'm doing the Velicor by Andrea Mowry, and it's that little summer t-shirt, and it's really hard to show right now, and I'm not cutting the strands yet between. It's a little bit busy, and I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it because I have the most of this. It was a sweater, you know those printed sweaters, the really lightweight, usually they're cardigans, button-up cardigans from like Ann Taylor, and what are the other ones you see most? Anyway, it was printed flowers, and I unraveled it and it made this really cool yarn, and I held it with the gray silk and cotton blend, and then I had some of the gray just by itself, and then red from another silk and cotton sweater. But this I don't even know what it's called. It's not variegated, but it's just highly speckled, and I'm not sure if I like how busy it is. It's just a lot because it's a lot of fabric on me. So I haven't cut the strands yet because I might unravel it, and possibly I have some linen in like different brown shades that maybe I'll do the linen and then use the speckly one as the little stripes for accent, because I don't think I started using the red. This is the process I go through when I cast something on. There's just so many options, but I started using the red, and I felt like I wouldn't wear this much red but I don't have enough of the gray to do the gray as the main color. So I might just have to use a different yarn. My goal is to use stash, especially older stash. And since it's getting closer to summer, I want to use some up and make myself t-shirts and lighter weight things. So I like this pattern, but I'm not sure if I like this yarn choice. But I'm using, I only have one interchangeable wooden needle, and I bought it to use this yarn, with this yarn in another project that I ripped out because it was so slippery. So I'm doing it in the round. So I've got it on a 2.5, or no, just a size 2 on the metal, which is what I did the ribbing in. And so it slides off of that really nicely. And then this little grippier bamboo in a size 3, I'm able to do the stitches, and it's working really well. It's not slippery at all, not hard to work with, except for the fact that I'm using so many different strands of yarn. And then I showed this one when I first started it. Oh, I'm in the middle of a row. This is that corner to corner cotton acrylic blend. I'm holding 2 strands. It's pretty old stash I'm trying to use up. And holding 2 strands together on a size 8. And it's just the corner to corner, and I'm doing it without the holes in the side. So I do a yarn over, and then I knit through the back loop to close it up on the way, going the other direction. So I'm almost through 2 balls of that. I've got this much left of those 2 balls, and then I need to check where I measured it to make sure I don't make it too big and not have enough yarn to decrease again. And then I showed last time that I was doing a modified drop shoulder pattern in this gray, this one that I have ripped out 2 times, or I had ripped out 2 times before, decided on that pattern, and then I ripped it out again because it was just not what I wanted. It wasn't working. So I decided on the Turtledove pattern by Espace Tricot, which I've done before and really like, but I'm not doing it as big. So I separated for sleeves earlier than they recommend. And so this is how far I've gotten. I've got the body down to here, and then when I finish that ball of yarn, I just started the sleeves because I want to make sure I can make the sleeves long enough. And I will probably be playing a yarn chicken, and I might end up doing the collar and cuffs and ribbing at the bottom in a different yarn. I have some cashmere in gray, so I didn't do the top ribbing because I knew I would probably have to do that. So one sleeve, I'm not doing the sleeves 2 at a time because I was doing these when I was sick and I just did not want to deal. So these are my decrease markers. And then when I do the other sleeve, I can keep track of my decreases and try and make the sleeves the same. And I just ran out of all-in yarn on that one and may switch to the other sleeve to balance it out so I can try it on. I did have to rip back slightly on the body with that because I tried it on and it was too tight. It wasn't this, or not tight, but it didn't have the ease that I wanted in the body because I want it more of like a sweatshirt type fit, so a little looser. And then, so I ripped back and added increases under the arms, or kind of under the arms. I didn't rip back that far, which I probably should have. And I may need to rip back again because if I try it on and it doesn't look right. I rip back a lot because I've discovered that if I finish it, if I'm like, oh, this won't bother me that bad, it's not a big deal, and then I finish it and I wear it and I'm like, I can't deal. So then I end up ripping it out later. So here is my dotted rays that I just started. Just a tiny little baby shell now. And I'm using the size 9 needles. And all of my hand spun, I don't have really accurate measures for it. I'm assuming it's about worsted weight. So I've got this little brown. I don't have very much of this, so I'm starting with this. And then this actually I think is too light for it. I just kind of pulled out all my browns and oranges to go with it. So when I finish that brown, I will probably either go to this held double, because this is more of a fingering weight, I think, or I will go to this, which is not very soft. It's, if I remember correctly, it's a corriedale that I spun a long time ago. Well, probably not that long. Pandemic time means I don't know when I am or where I am. And then I've got these two. This one has some silk in it. I can't remember if it's merino and silk or BFL and silk. It's pretty soft though. And then this one I think is merino. And I have the most of this one. So I might just maybe stripe these two together through the rest of the shawl. I don't know. I kind of just got inspiration this morning because I tried on my dotted rays. It hasn't been blocked yet, so it will get bigger and drapier. But I tried it on and I was like, I really like this. I think I need another one. And I need to use up handspun because, like I said, I'm trying to make sure I use it after I make it. Okay, so those are my whips. I do have some longer term whips. I think that brioche sweater, which I've kind of given up on because, oh my gosh, the sleeves are a slog, and I may end up ripping that one out. Which feels kind of silly to say because I've done so much already. But I think that's another one where I don't know that I'll enjoy wearing it. I cast it on when it was like super cold. We had a huge cold snap and I was freezing all the time. Also, soon after discovered that I was low on iron. So I started supplementing iron, and it's also warming up. So I don't know, maybe I'll let it sit for longer. I think I just have it on holders. I might have a needle in the arm. Yeah, it's just one of those things, you know, where I don't know if I want to push through. So my daughter begged and begged to make more Rolex the other day. So we basically got out some white merino and all of the wool that I have for felting. I believe most of it's merino or corriedale, so it works fine with that. And we made about 10 of this type of blend. So we used up a few of the colors and we made these very bright blends, very rainbowy. And then she wanted to use up some other colors, and I told her, I explained what a bat was. And so as I went to take off the Rolex, she's like, no, I want a bat. So I took off, it's super lightweight because I didn't realize we were gonna do a bat. I was planning for Rolex, so it's really thin. Should probably be fun to spin though. I'm not sure how I'm gonna spin it. I will separate it out in some way, but it's just got all the colors. And it's kind of hard to store too. Maybe I should spin that next. And then I'm still working on my brown Spanish merino spin. I haven't done a ton of it lately. And so I think those are all, yeah, that's what I've done. And now a couple of acquisitions. I said last time that I'd ordered some braids from the Electric Gypsy shop on Etsy, and those came in, and they're slightly messier than when they sent them to me because I had to undo them. I really don't like lavender. In fact, it gives me a headache, and I think they use a lot of lavender for storage. So I had to air these out in the garage for quite a while. So I just unbraided them and kind of draped them over stuff in the garage and just left them for a while. I can still smell it a little bit, but it doesn't give me a headache. Like when I opened the package, I had an instant headache. I had to take medicine. So that's that one. And then this one. And I have been so good about resisting more fiber because I'm going this weekend on Saturday to Whidbey Island for the Whidbey Island Spin-In. And they're gonna have a marketplace. So I'm trying not to buy anything, and I haven't. Well, I did buy one thing other than this because I plan on buying stuff there. So, but these came in and I really like them. Not sure what I'm gonna do with them, if I'm gonna spin them together. They would actually probably work really well as a 2-ply. The colors are similar enough. Maybe I'll look for something that will complement this, like a darker blue, and do a 3-ply. Because I do like spinning really fine and getting a nice plied yarn at the end. So no real plans for that. And then because I was felting and I used that Sarafina Fiber Arts tutorial on YouTube, I remembered when I first started felting and wanted to get into 2D felting, I watched some of her tutorials, which is kind of, sometimes I'm like, why am I watching this tutorial when I'm not actually making it? But it's enjoyable. So I loved her 2D felted rooster. And I don't know why. I don't have chickens. I don't have farmhouse decor. I don't, like, it just doesn't seem like I would like it, but I have thought about this. I think it's been a year to a year and a half, and I've just kept thinking about it. And so when I looked at her shop and ordered a couple needles from her, the felted needles, I decided to just get it. So this is her picture, the felted rooster. And I don't know why, it's like it's 2D, but it also has stuff coming off. So she has the locks, the dyed locks, that you kind of leave loose and free flowing as the feathers. And I looked at several different, they did a bunch of projects and they all looked so good. And I just couldn't resist. And I also, one of my goals for this year is to do more decorating with fiber arts, specifically wall hanging type things. So whether that's woven or felted or even knitted. I mean, I could hang up some of my knitted shawls probably. So that's one of my goals. And because the renovation that's going on is our basement, we had a flood. They did a sump pump. They did sealing, moisture mitigating epoxy, and then a gray epoxy on top. Looks so nice. It's still drying though, so we haven't actually been down there. So the next step is putting the walls back up because we had to tear those out because the drywall got wet. We also weren't sure what kind of cracks were on the walls. So we still have a lot of work to do. We're also the bathroom vanity was damaged, so we're gonna replace that. We're also getting quotes for a shower put down there. It's our laundry room as well. So anyway, we got walls, painting, and all that stuff. But because it no longer has carpet, it's gonna be way echoier. Is that a word? It will echo more. So we're gonna do rugs, and I'm thinking I want to try maybe some braided rugs. I was watching more tutorials because I was crocheting those baskets, and I'd watched a tutorial about basket making with yarn and stuff, and then I went down that rabbit hole and I saw the rag rugs, and I've always liked that look, so I might do some of those because we have this huge family room space, and I think I'm going to move our area rug from upstairs down there and replace the one up here because this one is like, it has been shedding since we got it. Like I vacuumed it, filled a vacuum canister like 2 or 3 times. It sheds so much, and it still sheds. Like every time I set down a project bag, especially my these woven ones, it just picks up all this fuzz. And that won't happen as much with downstairs because my husband does jiu-jitsu and he puts a jiu-jitsu mat over it anyway. So we'll see. But I have a lot of space to fill with wall decorations and rugs, and maybe I'll make some pillows, not felted, but maybe I'll weave some pillow covers and just lots of stuff to help dampen the sound a bit. So yes, I think that's everything. I'm very excited about going to the fiber event this weekend. This will be my first one ever, and I don't really know anyone. My local yarn store that I've been in a few times and will be there, but I don't go in enough that it feels like friends, I guess. So it'll be interesting. We'll see what it's like going without knowing anybody by myself. I am looking forward to getting some free time though, just by myself and not need to feed children or put children to bed or entertain children. So, all right, well, thank you so much for watching. I'm glad that I could do this before spring break next week when my children are home again. I mean, they were home for the last week and a half. Finally just went back to school. Not COVID. They had COVID tests and everything. It was a terrible cold, and we forgot how horrible it is to be sick with some random cold that I lost my voice completely. Almost. I had to whisper, which my children were actually did pretty well with it. But a lot of times I have to raise my voice because they're so loud that they can't hear me. So the whispering was an interesting dynamic. All right, I hope you have a wonderful day and an amazing weekend. And yeah, thanks for watching.